I did it. Okay, just realized I had my mute on while I was telling you that. Me and James are in close proximity now because
It's all of good information.
so I know, right? Just wanted to let you guys know, and I can cover it in the 3 minutes before we start. We actually have a referral program that you guys can use now. If you go all the way to our bottom of our site under help, referral program, it's the Get 10, Give 10. This means that you can get 10% commission off of people you refer who are first-time users here at FinerWorks. You'll get 10% commission off of their first order. They actually get a code for signing up that's good for 30 days for 10% off of their order. And what you can do is that when you sign up, if you're logged into your account, you'll see My Referrals. And you can read the program, which the page is where we just came from, and review the terms. But you would just check that box right there. It's right next here, and get your referral link. And it's a unique web link that you can go put on your social and direct people to. And they would get to a sign up page. And when they get in there, and sign up for their account, they'll get that referral code. So, and they have like 30 days to use that. And then after 30 days, you will get the FinerWorks credits added here to your accounts, and you'll be able to apply those at checkout. You'll see that there's a new field there for credits. So you can go ahead and start to use that. And we're about 2 minutes, so I guess we can go ahead and start. So we're going to be going over, just put this here. Do we have more people in? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Give them a few more minutes.
Yeah, let's wait till 6:30 exactly.
Okay.
Just
a little bit about a minute or so. And let me see. And we're just going to have you keep your mute on unless you have a question. And if you have a question, just unmute yourself, or you can use the chat feature down here at the bottom. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can use a live chat there as well. Let me make sure that is coming out there. Okay. All right. And we are at 6:30. So today we're going to be covering connecting your store to FinerWorks. And we have several integration tools that you can use here. We're going to first start with, I'll cover Geo Galleries. For those of you who are FinerWorks customers and have already set up an account, some of you already know the pros and cons. And sometimes I think people who, you put your images up and you haven't had a chance to come back, you forget. So this is a great little refresher. But then after I cover Geo Galleries, James will go into our other integration tools that we have here. Okay. So now if you are a new person here to FinerWorks and have never used Geo Galleries, first off, going to geogalleries.com and creating the account from there is going to create a buyer's account. So you don't want to do that. You have to sign up at finerworks.com and create your account here. And your account name, I'm going to bring up my notes. That way we can make sure I'm staying on it. I want people to note that your username is going to be your Geo Galleries URL. Okay, so that is this portion up here. Okay.
So don't use a username that you don't want
public. And that means also no emails, no special, not species, but special characters or spaces in your username. And that's just because that it makes it easier for search engines to kind of find your URL.
You can use underscores though. Underscores are okay.
Underscores
and hyphens as well.
Okay.
Underscores and hyphens can be used, but I would use underscores.
Underscores work better.
Yeah. underscores are probably a better option.
Okay. And with your Geo Galleries account, once you make that up right here, your bio is actually made of your profile. And actually right here where you see this clickable link to the website, that is off of your business profile.
And all that is in your FinerWorks account.
Okay.
That's managed through your FinerWorks account.
Yeah, so when you go into your account and go here to your account dashboard after you've signed up on FinerWorks, you'll see here, if you're not yet linked, it'll say link to Geo Galleries. And that's going to bring up the terms of service, our licensing agreement so that you can see it. And you'll just go ahead and accept the license. And then you'll get this icon here that goes, go to my account. You'll know you're on the FinerWorks account just because you'll see our logo up here at the top. And when you switch over to your Geo Galleries account, you'll get the Geo Galleries logo there. And you have that drop down right here for your collections, your My Page. Oops, I think we have, let's just mute that. So when you're creating this, your profile, for instance, like I said, it's going to be off of your My Profile here. And you're going to put on all of your information, including that headshot that you see right here. If you have a logo, as we're going to be talking about different integrations, if you're going to use an Etsy shop, your logo would actually go into the business profile portion. And with the website, like I said, you get that one clickable link on your Geo Galleries page, and you would put that in your business profile right there. There's your link. And I don't know why, but you really need to have that city and state on there to make it show up on your page. So make sure you have that, save your settings, and you'll have that on here.
It does an address validation.
Is that why?
Yeah, so just to make sure it's a valid address, and
Okay.
therefore it requires the city or state. We do have some problems though with some international addresses where there might not be a state. There might not even be a province in some cases. So in those cases, if you're an international artist, then you can always use our address and then just clarify in the bio where you're from. It's not the best option at the moment. But
what about if they're also doing at Etsy? Do they have to have their international address?
Oh, well, yeah, and we'll go into that as far as the integration with like importing orders and some of the things to keep in mind when building the your business profile and your billing profile and so forth. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back over here. Account profile. And like I said, you'll have all of that information here that would go in there. You can put your bio right down here. It doesn't have to be anything long or lengthy. You could add your social links if you want to, your handles for your different social accounts so that they're there. They're not anything you can click on from in there, but they're easily to copy and paste, and people can easily go to your social. Or if you want to, I guess you could even use your social web address if you don't have a website, and you can put that there. A lot of people are taking orders also on their Instagram through DMs, so that's also an option.
I thought there was a
we have it
where if they enter their
business
website address, it displays.
Yeah, they have the website address. I'm saying if they don't have a website, they could use a social just so that it's clickable. Okay. So that's your bio on there. Now, how Geo Galleries works is you load images that are high resolution, print ready. You create inventory from those images, print canvases, frame prints, and/or canvases. And a few specialty items, no cards. And I'll go into why we don't do the cards or support card sales on Geo Galleries. Page traffic information is not available, nor a way to insert your own Google Analytics. So I always suggest Bitly if you're going to be doing that, because that is a question we get a lot of, is to see the Google Analytics of page traffic. So at this time right now, that's not a feature that we have available to admin users yet. The next thing you're going to do is price your inventory from half to 3 times your FinerWorks cost of the item. If you command more than 3 times the cost, it may not be the platform for you, or you can come up with other items that are at different price points that you want to try out. Then you might be able to use Geo Galleries for that. We're not able to extend any discount codes nor free shipping. That's not anything that you can offer as an admin on there. Let me see, we have a question. Yes, the live discussion will be on playback on YouTube. And also the customers pay the shipping based on their selection for delivery, and they pay a sales tax if located in Texas. And we do international shipping because FinerWorks is the provider here. FinerWorks customer service handles questions on tracking damages, refunds, and returns. There are, you'll get.
Yeah, basically the customer service for Geo Galleries is limited to
those things.
To orders.
Yeah. So there is no technical support as through phone calls or that. Your technical support, unfortunately, is me. So
our customer service reps, they service, FinerWorks orders. They don't really service, or they service Geo Gallery orders, but they don't service. Questions,
admin user questions
relating to Geo Galleries directly. They'll forward them to me.
Yeah, they'll forward them to me. So you can use the contact us and that'll come to me. So 30 days after a sale, you are paid through PayPal account via the PayPal email you provide. Do not enter a PayPal pay me link. We need the actual email that your account is tied to. And for right now, PayPal is our only e-wallet way we're doing payments. So and until it gets bigger, then we can look at other e-wallet options. We do not provide any tax documentations, and you must contact a tax professional in your region on how you want to report the revenue. You are given, when you get orders, you are given the buyer's name, address, and email, and what they ordered from you. And I'll show you really quick. You'll see all of that information on your sales dashboard, which you would access on the side here. Get into there where it says My Sales. You'd click on that. And let me see, I'm with the graphic just so I didn't give out anybody's customer information. Right here. When it says pending, that means you'll get that information when a shipping label is created and it's going out. And like I said, you'll have the customer's name, their address, and most importantly, their email. And all of that information, you're able to use as your way to make your own database of people who've bought your prints. So that's what we want to have there to help you develop those databases.
Yeah. So basically the customers, and I think this confuses some people, the customers are Geo Gallery customers, they're Geo Gallery buyers. And sometimes they'll order a print from multiple artists. However, the way the agreement works with Geo Galleries is that Geo Galleries shares that information that because that's a potential buyer or a potential collector, I should say. I'm sorry. And so we believe that it's, and not all, if I'm not mistaken, not all galleries do this. Not all galleries.
No galleries give your collector information.
Yeah. So that's kind of something a little bit unique that you don't see all the time. And so, but many of our artists are selling online. They rely on online sales. So as an online gallery, we thought that would be kind of a nice benefit to be able to provide that contact information or share that information, who that buyer is.
And the customer, when they make their purchase, they receive their invoice, and it comes with Geo Gallery branding. So kind of think of, as Geo Galleries as your gallery representation, rather than like your Etsy shop. So they would get something like this. Again, it would have the Geo Galleries branding. This would also be the label on either their shipping tube or flat pack, depending on what they ordered. And then here they'd get like an itemization of the prints, canvases, just as you would see on your inventory on your page. So, and again, they have 30 days to kind of take a look at it. If they don't like it, they could ask for a refund. So that's why it takes 30 days for us to go ahead and pay you out. Again, as we were saying, there is no phone support for admin user technical issues. Now, I do invite people to a private Facebook page, and weekly I do a 2 p.m. Central Friday Zoom meeting on there, and I kind of just walk people, just like this Zoom meeting, into any issues they have. They share their screen, or I share my screen and walk through any issues people have. And again, you can always use that contact us form down at the bottom of the page, and ask for help right here, contact us, or on the FinerWorks side, and just put Geo Galleries question. That will kind of quickly let customer service know that needs to come to me. And now the next thing you need to go is have your images ready. And the first thing I tell people, because this is like, I want to say 80% of my questions that I get, why is my image showing? And a lot of the time that the reason is it's just not a high resolution image. You want to be, you're having prints for 300 DPI. So once your page is active, you want to load a high resolution image that's already print ready. Okay. So I put the little formula here that I've kind of used. It's like, if you want a 20 by 30 inch, you would multiply that by 300, and that would let you know what your pixel resolution would be. And when you are loading up, let's go into file management. We're going to go into the inventory here. You'll start loading up here, add files. And before you start doing all the work of all of this, just take a look, and I'll enlarge this where it says file dimension. Right there, that's going to let you know the size of your file. And again, if you needed to figure out how many inches that is, you would just do the reverse math and divide that.
Yeah, one of the important things to keep in mind as an artist and is that what we print represents you. So if we, and the production department at FinerWorks does not inspect each and every image that comes in. We have a lot of automated systems just because the sheer volume of orders that are produced at FinerWorks on a daily basis, we just don't have the resources. It's just not unwieldy to actually have someone sit there and inspect each image.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is reliant on the users to provide high quality images.
Mhm.
And so one ways to help ensure that, now it's not foolproof, but it does help a lot, is to require images have a certain resolution
Mhm.
based upon their overall dimensions and pixels. And so when occasionally we'll have people submit images at FinerWorks that are too low resolution, or maybe they're just kind of they're just right above what
At
our
1200.
system recommends.
Yeah.
But they then order a very large print and they get it, and then it looks too soft, blurry, pixelated.
Yeah.
And so we want to try to, Geo Galleries wants to try to avoid that because
We don't get a second chance
yeah,
to make that first impression.
yeah.
So that's the one reason I tell people you're going to upload, like I said, for the largest print size that you're going to be selling on Geo Galleries, because from that larger print size, we can make your smaller prints from your inventory. There's no problem going from a large print size to a smaller print size. It's when you try to do the reverses and you would run into those issues that James just mentioned. So that's why that's the first thing. I think I want to say like 1200, which is 4 inches, which is like, I think the smallest FinerWorks can print on many
Yeah,
media.
something like for the fine art papers is
Yeah.
4x4, but which is kind of,
That's where I
it's-
kind of see the threshold where
Yeah.
some do get under the thing. And when I'll see something like that, somebody has like a 1200, let's say by 1200, a pixel on there. And then what they try to do is make prints of 20-inch by 20-inch. Now, the system will let you make that,
yeah,
but let me tell you why that isn't a good idea. Not only are you gonna, again, you're gonna offer uh, future collector a very bad pixelated print, but a savvy print buyer, like I like to buy prints on here, has this information. The file information here is available to be transparent with the buyer. What the file size is like. And a savvy buyer might see that and say, wow, that's 1200 by 1200. There's no way a 20 by 20 is going to look good.
Yeah.
So
Hello? Hello? Okay, come.
host. So
yeah, putting my microphone. Okay,
are you off?
no, I'm still on here, so I think you dropped off.
But but I'm the host on it. So let me see. Give it a
No,
second.
I'm host now.
You're host now? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get you back in here.
Yeah.
Uh,
You want to turn your mic on really quick? Just so
yeah, I
can
have it
come in?
on. I don't see you.
Well, I'm trying to connect. It's dropped me off completely.
No.
It actually is giving me that I'm not connected to the internet.
Hmm.
Global network, no internet access.
Let's see. We'll get you on here in just a second.
We can hear you again, Melissa, just so you
The
know.
internet doesn't like me.
One moment, folks. Oh, there we go.
I'm back on here.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. All righty. Okay, sorry about that. Let me go back to sharing my screen because I don't believe my screen is being shared just yet. Let's see.
I was wondering because you were saying you were going through some motions in your screen and just
Froze up. I don't know why the internet here hates me so much. Okay, so as I was saying, you would need to make sure your title here it is updated. By default, it's going to have your file name. So for instance, in this example, the file name has 17 by 20.jpg. It's not something we want, did you have to create a Geo Gallery account to use FinerWorks drop shipping? No, you do not.
Geo Galleries is
it's a-
totally
it's a-
separate service from FinerWorks. Having FinerWorks fulfill orders. It's just Geo Galleries is a gallery service
Mhm.
that
FinerWorks offers.
FinerWorks offers its users to participate in if they want.
Yeah.
But all orders are Geo Galleries orders, and they're not drop shipped.
Well, they're drop shipped
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but technically they're Geo Gallery
orders to
so,
being sent out.
yeah, so it's just kind of a weird kind of connection with FinerWorks and Geo Galleries.
Yeah.
But for drop shipping orders, that's and we'll get into that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
That's different. That's outside.
Ashley, so just hold on one second and we'll get that. Okay. Okay. She says it totally makes sense. So that's good. Okay. So I'm going to continue. So to make your image active, like I said, high resolution, you want to change your title there. So it's not reading the file name. You want to make sure this is on show and not hide. I personally have hide until I have my inventory ready, and I'll tell you why in a second. We put 20 characters on our page, but I believe now it's about 30 characters, it seems to, because people have 20 characters and it's still hiding, but so I tell people about 30 characters here in this description. And I know it doesn't say description, but this is where the description would go. Then you want to select your gallery. Gallery here is going to have several different categories that when people come to Geo Galleries and they want to select, they have at the top categories. And I will get the request, can you add calligraphy? Can you add maybe dogs with hats? We don't want to go into making more subgroups. These are kind of basically the top subjects that people look for in art. So if you have something that's calligraphy and it's in the shape of a cat, then maybe go ahead and put that in the cat. Or if it's a prayer, maybe put it under spiritual or like a Christian or something along those lines. So look through the categories and see what you can relate your art to, because that's probably going to get more eyeballs on it to begin with. So
the most, it's tried to, the gallery categories are meant to be quite broad.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be as individual or as targeted as you might see in some places.
Yeah. The next thing you're going to do is create your collection. Now, the collections are made by you. If you haven't made any, make sure to hit update settings to save your description and everything. You can either go on the left here under the Geo Galleries menu there, collections, or you can hit that little question mark and it will take you to manage collections. And there is where you're going to go ahead and make your collection titles. And that's what you would see.
And this is where you could add dogs wearing hats.
Yes, exactly. So here, like, we have, you can put, if they're from a particular show, you might want to put like, prints from my Soho gallery show, whatever. So you can do that. Now, let me see what else here. Okay. And I think the other question I get is, can the images be sorted? Right now, no. Within the collection, there isn't a sort option yet for those, okay? On your collections, however, they do show in the tiles here as alpha order. On the side here, it's kind of random there, but in the tiles
that the galleries were
created,
yeah.
But here they stay in alpha order. So that's something to know. If you have something, like some people were asking me, well, I want to have sales. I have your collection a sale, and you can do images that you're going to do on there. Okay. That sometimes will help people. So you want to make sure, again, that you have those things to go ahead and make the image active. Okay. And all of that's here on your display setting tabs. The next thing, once you have everything set here, you want to go ahead to products, virtual inventory, and start adding your inventory. This with that create new right there. You can do a print product and start making your inventory. You want 3 inventory items minimum, because by default, Geo Galleries does give you your own kind of like a default inventory is what I call it.
Default inventory items.
Let me show y'all.
And those might not be, ideal for what you want.
Mm-hmm. Especially for, I think we still have the gallery wrap, correct?
Yeah.
Is the default one. For gallery wrap, for instance, is one of the default
times.
Yeah, just because of signature. And signature sometimes will get, if you have like a signature down in the bottom right-hand corner, a gallery wrap is going to put it underneath. So these are some of the default items right here. It'll come up with some paper prints, some canvas prints, some metal, and a framed option. Okay. So and now with default inventory, you cannot price on here. You're not able to access it and change the pricing, and it is set at half the times of the cost of the print. So I recommend creating your own inventory, at least the 3 items per image. Once you create them, they'll start to populate in here in your inventory tab. And the way you would set right here, you're able to see your selling price, the price of the item. When we get into on inventory here, you're going to see a bunch of information. You might see this too when you're creating for your Etsy account. Geo Gallery information will not appear on any of the other platforms. This is only if you've already accepted the license for Geo Galleries and have inventory to show. So don't worry, this information will not show on any other selling platforms you have. As you create your inventory, you're going to go into the edit info, and you can either give a title there if you want to kind of help sort through images and inventory later. You have your range. Let me see if I can.
Now, I should make mention is managing your inventory, you know, uploading your inventory files and managing the various product options under virtual inventory. That can actually be managed either
On
FinerWorks
or your Geo Galleries. Correct.
So there are some of these settings are synced with each other with both sites. So you can actually, you can go based upon, whichever is easiest for you, I guess.
So like I said, you have your range here from half the times of the cost to 3 times the cost. Okay. I suggest that was a specialty item example that I just showed. You want to go ahead and make sure with specialty items that, you don't mark it up too high. Because remember, people are still going to have to pay the shipping. And if they're in Texas, a sales tax. Where you're going to make the most money is going to be on your prints and canvases. And that I suggest marking up to your 3 times, because this is a great platform to test what you can command on here, and great way to launch yourself to a next level. So also with our frames, what's great about this is that you are able to get a commission off of our frames, 10%. So you would take the framing cost, and if this is $139, that would give you $13.90. Yep, framing commission right here. And then we get 10% of your retail costs, whatever you total put on here for your retail costs. So this one was $242. So our admin fee comes out to $10.30, and that's because there's we're not kind of calculating for the frame and stuff on there. But when you go look on here, now framing cost gets a little confusing to some people sometimes when they're going into edit info. So what you're looking at right here is inclusive. Really all you're charging for is your print cost. Okay, you're going by whatever your print cost, which is $30, I think, right here on this. Okay, plus the $139 for the framing cost. Okay, so on this, I do usually tell people go ahead and put it all the way to the top. Some people do like it to have whole numbers, so they might not put 0.90, they'll just put 0.00. But note that that's what you are selecting. It's your print cost, what you want to make off of the print that's being put in the frame.
Yeah, in that, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the typical gallery setting, if that might offer frame or frames, the frames are all the galleries.
Correct.
The gallery does not share that
No.
with the artist.
And
so this is where we do it a little bit different. Basically, we offer approximately a 10% commission, or there's a 10% commission that Geo Gallery shares for the frame as well. So that gives, it's a way to encourage the artist to offer their images as frame prints, and frame prints do sell
pretty well, actually.
Quite well, yeah. I mean, I would say from what we see when in Geo Galleries, I would say probably about 50% of the prints sold are frame prints.
Yeah, and also because we try to appeal to people who are like interior designers, so they want something ready to hang, and you can have fun on what you want to offer on the framing. I would also be mindful, though, to look at what FinerWorks has in stock when it comes to the framing, though. there's just times that there's certain things we are out of. I prefer the Alto Black on a lot of my stuff, but I think we did actually run into an inventory issue with Alto Black.
Yeah,
thick.
unfortunately, it's one of those profiles that we have actually multiple suppliers for. So we did have an issue, I guess it was late last year with it, but it's kind of rare on that molding. Same thing with your standard black and your standard white, which is our kind of our house stock moldings.
Yeah.
Those we actually use several vendors to acquire those moldings just because those are so popular nationwide that they do frequently run out of one warehouse, so we have to go, get it from another warehouse.
Yeah.
But typically we stock a lot of that so that when we do start to run low, we have plenty of time to bring it in.
So the other thing, once you're kind of creating all of your inventory and you have those 3 items, you can kind of go back to your inventory. Well, actually, I could have just hit display settings. And you can, if you had it on hide, you want to make sure it's show. I like to, as I'm doing these, open up the page as I'm going and building the inventory so that I see it as a customer would see it. That I see that I have, I have all of my information here. I'm seeing the prices here. And it looks good. Now, people ask a lot of the times, I want to send a direct link to just the mugs. Right now, it's not possible to send a link to just an inventory item, but you are able to take this link right here, which is your image link, and it'll bring people to this page. If you're running a special on a certain item, what I have suggested to some users is that they go into their description and maybe put something on there that my mugs are marked at maybe $11 instead of regular $18 price. See to the right, or see below if on a mobile device. But that's just one thing right there that people ask a lot about, but that's going to be the best way to drive traffic. And I know that's a kind of a long URL right there. And again, because I know a lot of people want analytics and we don't offer that right now. But if you use something like a URL generator like Bitly or a tiny URL, you can go ahead and take that and make it into a smaller one. And if you have that Bitly account, it'll give you the tracking information of where those are coming from and how that's coming. So that's something that you can do if you're really into the analytics. And there are some of you that are very savvy in that as well.
We hope at some point to
offer that later down the road,
where people can plug in their own Google Analytics code.
Now, I think the other thing when people are first starting with Geo Galleries and starting an inventory in general, is they're like, wow, do I have to create every inventory item? Yes and no. You can do something. You just need to be mindful of your aspect ratio. Okay, so if all of your prints are, kind of in a rectangle, like for
yeah, and you don't want to select a square
print that's like So let's say all of your, for the sake of example, let's just say all of these are the same exact size, which you can just by looking can see they're not. And I don't mean whether they're landscape or portrait. I mean the exact dimensions, okay? Because landscape or portrait won't really matter. You're able to go in, like I said, create new item. And I think I should just
that's a good example right there, because you can, as you can see, that's
the mug.
The mug wraps around, so it's very.
And so we had to be selective of what we wanted to. You're able to move that, but I wouldn't make a mug for everything because it will crop in different places.
Now, the thing nowadays, now you can go in, you can edit that and you can bring it in. So it doesn't necessarily, well, go ahead and.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick look. So for instance, we can do something
Go
called,
ahead and select the mug.
you want to select the
Yeah,
mug?
go ahead and
Okay.
select the mug. I'll show you. what you
Mug
can
and
do.
drink. Okay.
And
So
then-
let's go. I like the 15-ounce mugs. I always say make it a big mug because it's always people's favorite.
Now you can click on that.
Or go under modify and crop too. Does that also get you the same place?
Yeah, and you can scale it down.
Yeah.
The scale.
Let me get this over here, move it out of my way so I can see. And
On
then,
the right, yeah, you can drag that in.
so you can make it to show just the image all together.
And that's a good way to, like, a lot of our users do that to print like logos. Which,
Now, right here, this would put it dead center across from the handle, correct?
yeah.
Okay. So, and if you're somebody who wants the image to wrap around,
Yeah.
you would do that. Now, like I said, that green thing here is going to tell you kind of your safe zone in there.
Yeah.
So for this instance, like I said, they may decide, okay, I want to go ahead and I'll crop it there. For this one, for mugs, something that's completely not in the aspect ratio of the print, you would have to do those individually.
Right.
So I'm not going to save this one here. I think I already have one there. And let me see, I think there's a question that's popping up on Zoom. FYI, I am very interested in using Shopify integrated to my WordPress and do drop ship with FinerWorks. Will you discuss that today? Yes, we're going to be hitting that next.
Yeah, we probably should get started.
Yeah,
on that
we're
pretty
just
soon.
about there. So the other thing, like I said, which is going to apply to your other, let me see, how do I get back out of
Yeah,
here?
just click your back button.
My back button up on the browser. Okay,
Have to cancel button.
okay.
We don't want people. to-
So, like I said, for you are able to use our bulk item kind of thing here, which is it's a really neat tool. I like this a lot, but again, be mindful of your aspect ratios from print to print. So let's just say, for instance, they're all the same size, right? And everything you want is going to be archival matte. It's all going to have an inch border around it, regardless of it being landscape or a portrait. And you say you're going to have these all 20 by 16, 16 by 20s right here. And then let me see. Let me get to where did our little bulk? There it is. Batch prints right here. You're going to get to your batch prints. Now, all of those details that you picked for your inventory can be applied to all the images here. You would just go ahead and select the other different images. And let's say, do all of these.
And then you'd save to inventory.
I don't have my things here. Well, you got to make sure include selected. And you need all of these images to come to the left side. That's how you know that they've are on there. So I'm gonna let this all pop on there. So now you see them all on here. Now they're all gonna have that same feature of 16 by 20. Now this is, again, they have to be the same aspect ratio. You're gonna have cropping across multiple images. And then you would save to inventory and you'll see them populate. I'm not going to do that for this thing because I don't want to add that to this artist account. And I believe I'm towards the end here. So that'll help you no matter what platform you're on. The bulk tool is kind of there. You can kind of create a bunch of the same print. If you're going to offer the same thing on everything, you do have that thing to help you get through making your inventory a little faster. You will have to go to each one and do that modify and do your prices. Each will have its own individual SKU in there, and that's what you're going to end up needing on there to kind of make your inventory for other platforms. So, like I said, the great thing about it with the Geo Galleries is the inventory is diverse. You can use it on Geo Galleries and you can use it on the other integrations that FinerWorks has. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to James, who's going to talk about our FinerWorks integration tools that we have on there. So with that, let me stop sharing my screen
Okay.
and I'm going to make you host and mute myself. Let's share.
Okay.
Oh,
I guess we probably, and I'll put my volume on.
no, it's fine. I think I have it. open. Let me make you host first.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where the feedback's come from. Is it your phone?
No, it's this.
Yeah, just turn your volume down.
Mhm. Okay, there we go.
All right.
There. So
Okay.
now-
I think everyone should be able to hear me now.
Are you hosted? Let me see.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not.
Just make you the host here so you can share.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, now for the other part of integration, which and we're going to kind of go over the different methods that we have here. And let me go ahead and get my screen shared. Now, before I go into detail about integration, I do want to mention that we were talking about the batch tool. That will help save a lot of time, especially if you have an online store somewhere with Shopify, Etsy, Squarespace, just the different options out there. And we see this a lot of time where online stores, say someone with a Shopify store, they're switching print providers to use us. Well, they need to create, they want to best integrate with us to streamline it as much as possible. They want to be able to have corresponding products with FinerWorks. And that can take a long time to depend upon the size of the store. So basically by using that batch tool, you can create multiple prints for each of your digital image files that you've uploaded to your inventory files. But we're going to start off. We're going to go ahead and start off with explaining what the different integration options are when it comes for people with an online store. And again, this is separate from Geo Galleries, where Geo Galleries is itself an online store that is connected to FinerWorks in a different way. This is so you can connect your store to FinerWorks and import orders and for order fulfillment. Okay, so let's go to fulfillment. Okay. When we talk about fulfillment, we're talking about sending orders to your customer without you actually having to store any inventory. You don't have to worry about, taking stuff to the post office or having the post office or UPS pick up the prints, packaging it, all very time-consuming processes when it comes to managing an online business. So we try to make drop shipping as easy as possible for our users. You actually don't have to be a registered users to use our drop shipping services, but there are some benefits when you are registered. You have an account with us, such as being able to display your logo on the packing slip and on the label that goes on the outer package. There's no size limitations. There's no product limitations to what can be drop shipped. Any order can be drop shipped. And the key to making it a drop ship order is that it is presented as if you shipped it and no pricing information is provided. So this way, FinerWorks remains as transparent as possible. And or as hidden as possible. Probably a better way of describing that. And you appear to be the person to have sent that. There are some exceptions where we can't remain completely hidden in the background. That is with international orders where custom paperworks are involved. But generally, no one is going to be aware that FinerWorks is sending that order. There are different dropship fulfillment levels. Everyone starts off at level 1, regardless if they have an account or not. Okay, there's a level 2 and a level 3. We do have some sub levels, and we do have some situations where we customize these based upon a user's existing needs. But before you request to upgrade to a level 2 or level 3, take a look at what your existing daily order volume is.
You ask, is that a monthly average or after the daily orders? Like,
So-
how long do we take to?
So
tracking?
we like to have about 3 months worth of continuous orders to base that upon. One of the reasons, because art sales tend to be seasonal,
Mhm.
and so and people come to us all the time saying, "Oh, it's I was doing 5-6 orders a day."
Mhm.
Well, that's leading up to maybe right up to Christmas, but then suddenly right after Christmas, that order volume drops. So we try to have we want to spread it out and get a little bit better idea of the average, because when you get into the level 2 and especially level 3, there's some things that have to go on in the production process to be able to accommodate that kind of volume as well as possible. And so we try to we standardize as much as we can in the production process, but when you get into level 2, and there might be some things some special requirements, or special, like I said, level 3, it's harder to do so when there's only a few orders, because our production staff has to be able to keep track of, oh, for this particular user I have to do this, that particular user I have to do that. And if those orders are spread out over a long period of time, it's harder to be able to accommodate that. So let's talk about the different integration tools we have. Melissa went over Geo Galleries because she is our local Geo Galleries expert, and she works with artists on a regular basis, helping them with Geo Galleries. But there are some third-party integrations that we also want to delve into. The first is OrderDesk. Okay, and OrderDesk is a wonderful product. OrderDesk is actually used by a lot of our users that sell on sites like Etsy, and then also sell on Squarespace, or they sell on Etsy and they also sell on Shopify. And the Etsy order management platform, some may think, it may be great for some, but it's very much different than the one that Shopify has. So if you have a lot of orders on both platforms, OrderDesk is a great tool, because it kind of brings those orders into one user interface for you to easily manage those orders. Now we don't with OrderDesk, we don't have any of our staff that uses it, so I can't really go into detail as far as I can't show you any screenshots, but they do allow you to sign up for, I believe it's 30 days where you can kind of demo it and you can test it out. I do recommend you do it. Find out if it's for you. Any questions regarding OrderDesk and its integration with FinerWorks should actually be addressed to OrderDesk versus FinerWorks, because while sometimes they'll forward these questions to us, generally those are questions that OrderDesk is going to be in a better position to answer. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot more detail about OrderDesk, but I do encourage anyone that is selling on multiple platforms to take a look at it, because you may find it's a very very good tool to save time to help manage those orders.
Is that the only way to integrate multiple platforms with FinerWorks? Or can, if they decide they want to have a Shopify, Etsy, WordPress, are they able to do that?
Right now, there it is. There are some other platforms that allow users to manage orders on Shopify, Etsy, Squarespace, and those are more like your ShipStation and so forth. But they're not really meant to. They're not a multi-order submission platform, which is what OrderDesk. OrderDesk allows you to submit orders to FinerWorks from those multiple platforms.
So if somebody says they have a Shopify store and an Etsy store, they are able though to use their inventory SKU and put it on different.
Correct.
On their Shopify and their Etsy.
Yeah,
it's just going to take more of their time to kind of manage, correct?
Yeah, correct. Okay. Now there are apps out there that allow you to manage inventory and across Shopify and Etsy and vice versa. So you know, that's another option for people to consider. The one I'm going to go into the most detail is going to be Shopify, and I'm going to, because while I would say probably the majority of our users that are having us fulfill orders or having us fill Etsy orders, the most orders that we are fulfilling in batches tend to be from Shopify. We have a lot of, when I say a lot, we have a good number of Shopify store owners that may have a gallery that, or you know, they're either their personal gallery or it's as part of their you know, traditional retail gallery that use Shopify. Shopify seems to be a little bit, I guess, more favored than some of the other platforms, e-commerce platforms for galleries. So maybe that's why. So we're going to go into Shopify and show some examples of integration there. Now you had some questions that, before we start that, I couldn't find those questions that our customer service
team. I'm kind of checking them off as you're going and interjecting them where I see.
Well, if there's anything, just go ahead and ask those questions, ask away, because I know our customer service team gets a lot of questions about integration. They are kind of limited to what they can provide, because they're trying to find out, okay, why did this order get lost in the mail versus.
And also some questions will be more on the platform side. So this will be more of an Etsy customer support question or a Shopify customer support question. So
sometimes our customer service reps, you know, they're not familiar with the individual platforms. You know, why isn't my product not showing up on Etsy? Well, that's more of an Etsy question versus and
that was a question, do we offer support on integration? So that answers that question.
We have to kind of limit it. I one of my roles here at FinerWorks is I provide
everything.
I provide support for these various platforms for Shopify, Etsy, and Squarespace, and the Excel implementation. But I only do that for tier 3 users. There's and even that's getting very difficult, or just because the number of level 3 users that we now cater to. But so I'm kind of, you know, once people get to that level 3, I usually help along. So I'm going to kind of go over with, starting with Shopify, basically some of that information that I'm sharing with these level 3 users, so that hopefully it'll help you.
And when we do get those questions, something customer service would like people to do is when they submit a question, especially on integration, is to always provide a screenshot with your question when you send that in to us. Yeah,
especially if it's it's related to importing orders or errors and so forth that might be displayed on screen. That way it helps them trace down who they need to ask to answer that question if they don't have the answer themselves. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to, I have a test store or a test gallery with Shopify. I'll just call it test gallery, and I'm able to create fake orders and test the whole integration process. So one of the first things, the important things when using these integration methods, whether it be Shopify, Etsy, or Squarespace, is to be able to provide the correct store name. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click connect for Shopify. Now I'm already connected, okay? And if you're not, you're going to have a field in place of where I have my store name that is going to ask me to enter my store name so that I can connect. And right after you do that, you'll go through the process of connecting. It's kind of like when you're connecting to Facebook or various apps to Facebook. You'll see a list of things that our app is requesting access to, and that is, order details, product details, general stuff that we're going to need to fill that order. And once that's completed, that connection process is completed, which is real easy to do, you'll see your store name right here. Now, one of the important parts about entering the store name is make sure that it is what you have when you log into your admin interface at Shopify. Make sure that it is this first part all the way up to the .com, because if your website is mywonderfulart.com, your admin URL is not going to necessarily be mywonderfulart.com. You're going to have to enter it just like what you see here. And we do have some down here where it says full documentation set up. We have kind of a screenshot of what I mean here. That load. Okay, so you're going to, I'm sorry, you're going to actually select everything up to myshopify.com. So everything that you see highlighted is what you will put in there. So so in this case, you'll just put test gallery -3, which is the name of my gallery, and then it'll know what to connect to. Once you've connected your shop, it's before you can start to utilize the order import process, and this goes for whether it be Etsy, Squarespace, Excel, or even using our API, which we'll get into right at the end. There are some data that we will need you to complete. First, so here's the initial setup. First, you'll need to create a FinerWorks account. Obviously, you would not be able to get to this step unless you had already done so. So that's usually done already. The next is you're going to need to create a business profile with FinerWorks. Now, the business profile is important because that provides us the data that we're going to be putting on packing slips. And it's also part of the branding process. So now in Geo Galleries, we kind of went over some of this. It's the same thing. Just make sure you look at, the items that have the little asterisk. They're very hard to see, but make sure that you include that. If you try to import an order and you do not have this business profile completed, you will get an error. You won't be able to import your orders from Shopify. So make sure all the required fields are filled out, including country. I don't know why, but everyone always forgets to select the country.
Yeah. And you were saying for internationals, they go ahead.
Internationals, you can always opt to put your, our address, which is now Suite 101. I'm going to put my name here. We did add first name and last name as a requirement, and I don't remember why we had to do that, but we did do that last year at some point. I think there was some issues with certain paperwork being generated for customs and so forth.
Drop shipping and setting an account, do they have to submit their tax ID number in there?
A tax ID is not required. Okay. If you do enter your tax ID number, that does not necessarily mean you'll be tax exempt immediately. You will have to provide the appropriate documentation, and you can contact our customer service team and they can forward that information to you. Yeah, you'll want to go ahead and enter your tax ID number there if you
Or trying to do tax exempt.
yeah, and we will need that form. So just the tax ID by itself is not enough. The next part is, and this is optional, but it's helpful, is upload a logo. I'll tell you why it's helpful. One is it's helpful for you, it's for branding. It's helpful for our production department, our production staff, because especially if you're starting to ship a lot of orders, we have two online galleries. Their artwork looks extremely similar. You think that they're the same gallery, and they have different shipping requirements that we've made arrangements for, but their artwork, just the thumbnails, the imagery that they're having us produce, and the types of prints look almost identical. And the only way we can actually separate those orders is by the logo. So, obviously we can look at the name, but the logo helps because that's printed on the packing slips, and we can say, oh, these packages need to go over here, these, versus these over here. So, yeah, so it's helpful to us, but it also, is a nice little way for you to benefit as well. And then the next part is important because yeah, the payment and billing address. So that's pretty much self-explanatory. You can provide a credit card. Now, we don't actually store a physical credit card number or a credit card number itself anywhere in our system. The payment processor, which is actually a PayPal company, PayPal-owned company, actually generates what's called a payment token, which can only be used by your account at FinerWorks. So that kind of gets into more detail that most people need to know, but that's a way usually credit card information is stored on websites. So that's the proper way to store payment information on websites, not store an actual credit card number. But you can, so you can create that credit card token, and the only information we'll save is the last 4 digits, so you know which credit card you want to apply payment to. You can also store PayPal as a payment method. The next part over here is necessary billing information. Again, just like the business profile, company name, first name, last name. It'll tell you what it needs if you don't. I'll leave my last name out. If I click on save, oh, it shouldn't have saved that, but make sure you
Have your last name in there.
yeah, make sure you have that fully completed. Otherwise, you'll get an error. Now, the error will tell you what is missing. Shipping information, and this is called your quick checkout information. The quick checkout information, you probably want to just leave that blank unless you plan on having a lot of the orders shipped to you. But most cases people are having their orders drop shipped, so I would just leave that blank. The next important part is going to be, let me get back to that screen. Yeah. Assign corresponding product SKUs from your virtual inventory to your shop's products or variants. Now, again, this is going to be whether you're selling on Etsy, Shopify, Squarespace, importing orders from Excel. Those are all, or any other apps that we develop in the future, you're going to need to assign the proper product SKUs. If not the product SKUs, at least the product codes. And when we do a demonstration, I'll show you why. Now, we kind of got into this with Geo Galleries. We talked about the inventory. And so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to My Products. And I'll show you the products that I have here. And as you can see, I have a card here. We'll just use this card as an example. Actually, I'm not going to use that as an example. I'm going to use this product down here. We have a SKU, which is the product SKU, and then we have a product code. Now, the difference between the two is very simple. A SKU is very specific to this particular print, this 40 by 26 artisan archival canvas print with this particular image or artwork. A product code covers everything in here, but it doesn't tell us what the image is. So if you were going to submit product codes, you will need to also submit as a separate step, but it's part of the actually importing the orders. It's built in, but you'll have to select the image you want us to print. If you marry your imports to the SKU, then we'll know exactly what to produce because that's specific to this particular print that you set up. Now, if you're a gallery and you're creating, you're having the same prints fulfilled over and over and over again, or you have a collection of prints that are being fulfilled over and over again, we're going to want to keep, we're going to want to talk about this SKU in a little bit. If you're doing custom portraiture or you're doing one-of-a-kind unique items, then you're going to want to use this product code because then you can submit the image. Now these...
Is the SKU also specific to the size of the print?
The SKU is the product code and the SKU, or the product code and the SKU both are specific to the all this information you see here, whether the size, if it has a frame, or the type of mounting style, that information is going to be contained within both.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you can see that the product codes, the SKUs are basically represent your account and the print ID number. So your account ID and your print ID number. So we know what account and what print to pull that from. The product code is just something that's more general, so we know what type of product it is. And as you can see, like this one was just just on paper, a paper print. The product code is much shorter than the let's look at this frame print right here, which is quite long. So anyway, so you can go back and watch, how to create virtual inventory items. I'll do a quick walk through here, but yeah, go back and review that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a print product.
And just really quickly, it says, so we need a SKU for each and every product we offer on our store, and that is correct.
Correct. Yeah. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a print here. It's just a stock image. It's not my photography. I wish it was, but I'm going to just do a paper print. I'm going to do the Epsom Somerset Velvet, which is quite popular. Do a 1-inch border, and I'm going to do a 12 by 18. And I'm going to, I'm not going to do a frame. I'm going to save that to inventory. Okay. Drag that away. Okay, so I have this brand new print set up, and it generated a new SKU. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to go back to Shopify now, and I'm going to go to the admin interface, and I'm going to I'm going to go to the product section first. So in Shopify, you can edit your existing products, or you can add a product, whichever it is. So in this case, I'm going to go to, let's go to this one. I'm going to go ahead and edit this one. Okay, and pretty photo. I'm going to come back over to here, and I'm going to go ahead and, you don't have to, I'm going to just do this, but you can always copy and paste. Then I can add, I'm going to go ahead and add from a URL. Now, what I'm going to do to get that URL, I'm going to right click, I'm going to go copy image address. I'm going to paste that in there, add file. Oops. And there you go. Now price, I'm going to change the price. I'm going to make that $33. Now, this next part is very important, because when an order comes in, I want to send it to FinerWorks. I want to make sure they know exactly what to print. Okay. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my virtual inventory. I'm going to select the SKU, this SKU right here.
And someone's asking, is the process for assigning a SKU, is it randomly generated? No, not really. There's actually, each little part means something on our side, but it's not anything that they have to worry about generating.
Well,
our system
the product code has a very distinct pattern. It's basically just full of a bunch of numbers that represent media IDs, sizes, frame IDs, and what have you. That information is parsed so it knows what exactly that product is made up of. So I'm going to go add, pasted that SKU there, and this is also important, and I'm going to go ahead and put FinerWorks as where inventory will be stocked at. And that helps with ensuring that when that particular product is sent to us for processing, we know in order for us to be able to post tracking information and notifications, automatic notifications to your Shopify store, that inventory needs to be assigned to FinerWorks.
And who will receive that tracking?
The customer.
Well, the customer of the artist or the artist who has the shop?
Both.
Okay,
Actually,
so
yeah.
both will get
Yeah.
it. So whoever bought it from them will also have tracking info.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that when we ship it out, your customer is automatically notified that that order has been shipped, and the order is also marked as fulfilled.
Okay.
So that's very important. Now to add that, now this is where a lot of people get stuck, is when adding, notice I have FinerWorks. Well, how do I get FinerWorks in that box? That's going to be over here in your settings under your, where is it? No, I'm sorry, not your settings. It's going to be under your locations. Try to remember where that's configured at.
And it's so you can use the image generated in your FinerWorks inventory on your Shopify store.
Online store preferences. Yeah, 1 second. Let me make sure I'm fine. I'm locating the correct. I'm finding where it's at. And I do not remember where locations is, but I should be able to find it. I'd forgotten about this part, so I didn't bother to.
Double check this part.
Yeah, let me go over here. Always pops up. All right, I'm going to have to go back and find that, because I don't remember where the locations section is.
I'll say this is that Shopify has really great customer service on their site when walking you through stuff.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's. I thought it used to be over here.
Store settings location.
Yeah, store setting. Oh, I thought it was in it. Store details, locations right here, right in front of me. I was right there. So you'll want to add a location. Now I've already added. I'm not going to add it again, but you want to make sure that the location is titled FinerWorks, FinerWorks, all one word. The whole process of FinerWorks fulfilling orders and automatically transmitting tracking information is a highly complex process for us, and it's we have many users that want their orders automatically marked as fulfilled within their Shopify store, but and a lot of these users are wondering, well, why aren't my orders getting updated? Why do I have to go in and manually check my order history and do it? And that is because they do not have that location configured. They don't have a location set up as FinerWorks added to their Shopify store, and they don't have their products as themselves assigned to FinerWorks. They have, they have them maybe unassigned. So just make sure that you have your products assigned to FinerWorks. Otherwise, because the way Shopify works when it comes to fulfillment is, and I think it's overly complex for most people, or set up in an overly complex way that's really not necessary under most scenarios. But they envision a scenario where a online store has products spread out throughout different parts of the U.S. in different warehouses. And so they're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to, let's say I'm selling water bottles, and I have water bottles in Ohio, I have water bottles in California, and I'm going to ship from that warehouse, the warehouse that's closest to my customer. Well, obviously, that scenario works great if you're selling, tons of water bottles or having them fulfilled by tons of warehouses throughout the country. But your average Shopify user is not isn't doing that. So I wish this was not set up in such a complex fashion, but it is that way. Or is that time right? 7:53. Okay. Fortunately, when we finish Shopify, the rest will be pretty easy. So we may go over a few minutes, and you can always go back and rewatch this as well. Yeah. So now that I have my product, I already did this with this product, this canvas print, and I created a test order in Shopify that I'm going to want to import. So let me go to my orders.
That's just to make one size, correct, James? That item that you just created in Shopify?
Yeah, that's just one product. Okay. Now, at some point, we do hope to have a sync tool which allows you to automatically post your virtual inventory products to Shopify as products themselves.
That way, you only have to make it once.
Yeah, in other words, you build your product at FinerWorks, and then you can add them to Shopify. But that's we have a couple things that we have to first do before we can.
Right now, you are having to make your inventory on FinerWorks, and then on Shopify or Etsy, whatever, you'd have to make your item there as well. And they have to match.
Now, I know that gets to be kind of cumbersome, but there are some, and I don't recall where it is, but and maybe I can find it. There is a feature in Shopify that allows you to manage settings for a lot of products. Kind of, it's like a batch tool. I would look up batch product
on Shopify
modifications on Shopify, and you'll find it. It's there. It's tucked away, hidden. It's but it'll help a lot.
So are various multiple sizes available on the same listing?
Those you have to create. You want to create as product variants. So most Shopify users are familiar with that. So let's say you have this particular product. You will also want to offer it as a 16 by 20, 20 by 30, what have you. What you can do that by creating, or this right here, you could say option size 16 by 20. That's the option name. You can give it a value. There is also, actually, no, I'm sorry. This is the wrong place. you want to go look at the variants. Where's the variants? I'm going to go to variants are handled through inventory. And I don't want to get too much into that because Shopify, Etsy, and all different platforms handle this differently. But typically you're going to be generating, and this is not about how to create products in Shopify, but you'll want to, if you're not sure how to do it, you want to research, how do I create something called variants? So that's a variant is a product based off of another product. So it's like another version of that product.
On the FinerWorks side though, so if they're making the variants, they'd have to make that variant on the FinerWorks inventory and get the SKU attached.
The variants themselves will also have a field for the product code or SKU. So so you'll want to make sure that, again, this SKU or this product code is the glue that bonds the two together. So you'll want to use one or the other. So let's go ahead and go through the import process. So I'm going to go ahead and I created an order, just a test order earlier, and I'm going to go to Shopify. I'm going to submit orders. And there's some options here. Each Shopify, Etsy, Squarespace, they may have some slight variations on this. In this case, I want to only include synced product orders. I'll keep that checked because I don't want to bring in, let's say if you receive an order and let's say you're selling artwork and house slippers on your website. All right. FinerWorks doesn't need to see the information about the house slippers if that's contained in the same order. They just need to see that print. So you want to go ahead and keep that checked. Ignore previously imported orders. When checked, previously imported orders will not be included. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. And we probably should, oh, I'm sorry, ignore, we want to keep that checked. We don't want orders that you've already imported.
Because that would make double orders.
Yeah. So knew there was a reason why that it's getting late.
Yeah.
But I knew there was a reason why that needed to
be selected.
Yeah. So once I did that, these two Shopify orders, which I will show you. I have two Shopify orders. This one and this one. This one I placed created a few days ago. And then this one. Notice that they both, the products, everything imported exactly the way it was intended. I went back. This was the product that I had gone and edited a few minutes ago. So everything is there, ready to go. You see that this is checked. This is checked. Now I can uncheck this and this entire order will be ignored. Or I can check it and this order will be included. And notice how the total changes.
Now this is on the FinerWorks side here. Right?
Yeah, we're in FinerWorks. Okay. Now you can also do it this way, or at least you used to be. Let me check to see if you can. You can come over here. Oh, it's orders. There we go. Send to FinerWorks.
And that's one of the questions people
Mhm.
had asked is like, do the orders come over automatically?
No.
Do you need to put?
You have to manually do them.
Mhm.
Okay. If you, and there's a reason for that is, because of our automation, and the way orders come in, when we've tried to do more, and it's something we're constantly looking at and what I hope to revisit, but when we've had orders that come in and are meant to be automatically fulfilled, there's too many instances where an order needs to be canceled, or let's say for whatever reason, and the incorrect data is sent to us. Well, that order has, by the time we can get to it, that order may have already shipped out.
Mhm.
Or by the time, it's also a way for the users to kind of keep track of what they're submitting, because there's been other times where the order's been submitted multiple times.
Mhm.
And so we right now, we're just not comfortable with because of our level of automation that occurs with grabbing orders and processes those orders and then sending them out. We just don't want to be, sending out and spending a lot of money on shipping orders that don't need to be shipped.
Yeah.
And some orders can be very expensive, and so those kind of mistakes can be
Costly. after a
very
while.
costly. Yeah.
So after I send an order to fulfillment, I guess this would be a little more Etsy. Do I need to manually go to Etsy and change order status to complete? I don't know. if Shopify has the same way.
Etsy is much better configured for that, so that our system will automatically know that that's an Etsy order.
Mhm.
And so we don't, the things that we have to go through to submit tracking information to Shopify, we don't have to do that with Etsy. With Etsy, regardless, orders are always automatically marked as fulfilled and completed if they're imported through the app. So it's much more streamlined with Etsy than Shopify. Shopify, in your Shopify account, you have to first create that location called FinerWorks, whereas with Etsy, you don't have to do that.
So you sent those orders from Shopify over, and that's what's kind of generating what you're seeing here, right? Okay, and now we're in the FinerWorks screen, because I know somebody was asking right now,
Yeah.
when is payment on the FinerWorks side?
Now
that'll be right here.
Yeah, this is right here. You click the submit payment, and you will have a save payment option. You won't have an invoice. Only certain level users have the invoice option, but you'll select your save payment method. And if you don't have one added, like I don't, I probably should, you'll want to go ahead and go to your account and create that payment method. So that save payment method is a requirement, as we had mentioned earlier. And then you'll be able to submit the order, and you'll be billed in one transaction for all those orders. And they'll show up in your order history right away. You may see your Shopify orders marked as in progress, okay, or pending, or you'll see that the status should change from unfulfilled to something indicating that the order is being processed by us. That's assuming you did everything correctly by adding that location to your Shopify account and assigning those products to that location. Now, let's go ahead and the reason why we'll quickly go through these others, because the integration part with these others is almost exactly the same. Okay. Etsy again, we're not going to go through the interface of Etsy because the Etsy account that I have access to probably wouldn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
But I will say this is that the Etsy import process is almost exactly the same. Those that are selling on Etsy already, you're going to already be familiar with the product and the variants. And again, you want to apply your SKUs, your product codes,
From your inventory.
or your SKUs from your virtual inventory, so that when they get imported, they will it'll pull the correct product. Now, a lot of our Etsy sellers are doing custom one-of-a-kind stuff.
Mhm.
So if you're doing that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just pretend we're in the Etsy import interface, which is almost identical.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and remove this product, okay? And notice that automatically became unchecked. I'm gonna enter a product code or SKU. In this case, I'm going to enter, I'm going to just enter that product code. Again, there's no image. Okay, so let's say you had used a product code instead of an inventory SKU.
Mhm.
Um,
Gonna prompt you.
okay, it's going to, please provide an image, because if I try to select that, it'll deselect it until I select an image. And here I can select images that I have uploaded.
Okay, FinerWorks. Okay.
To my temporary files or my virtual or my inventory files. Now I can submit that order. So that's the difference between the two. Notice that basically there was an extra step there.
Customer service had said, with Etsy, can you explain that regarding Etsy orders? And what do I do if I forget to mark my order as an Etsy order? Because that's one.
Well,
thing.
if you're using the import app, okay, the Etsy import integration, which again is almost identical to the Shopify one, we will know that it's an Etsy order, and we will basically it's stored that the fact that it's an Etsy order is stored in our database with the order details that we receive, so that when we ship it, our system will then say, look at the order and say, oh, look, it's an Etsy order. We better send a shipping notification to that Etsy user's Etsy account, and mark it as fulfilled. And we'll also post the tracking information. We do this at the time that the shipping label is created. One of the reasons we don't, so sometimes an order will be marked as fulfilled, but you'll only see on the label, the tracking information that label's been created. We do that because we know that many times Etsy orders are time sensitive, much more so than Shopify, because Etsy will have these, if you say that you're going to ship something within a certain time frame, you have to make sure that you do so. So sometimes orders will get completed, but we can't always control when UPS or the post office picks up that package. So we'll mark it as shipped, even if it hadn't been picked up yet, but it's been labeled, because we know at some point it's going to be picked up either that day or the following day. We just don't always know exactly when. Also, in the eyes of Etsy, it's been shipped. So in the instance where, let's say, it gets picked up, actually physically gets picked up the next day, there's less likelihood of that order being marked as late within your Etsy account.
And if they forget to mark it, they should contact customer service?
No, they don't have to do
They
anything.
don't have to- okay.
Yeah, so that, again, when you're importing it through Etsy, it's automatically marked as shipped when we ship it. But now if you're submitting your orders through our regular shopping cart system, it will do so as long as there is a checkbox at the end of the checkout process where you can check that this is an Etsy order. In that case, it'll do the same thing. No, I'm sorry, it won't. It will if you have connected your Etsy shop. So my suggestion is if you're having us fill Etsy orders, use the import app versus regular shopping cart. So Squarespace, okay, again, is almost exactly like Shopify. The only thing with Squarespace is we do not provide tracking updates. We don't post tracking to your Squarespace account, at least not yet. We are working on that. We realize a lot of our users are using Squarespace, but again, the import is almost exactly the same. All these have their own documentation to view. So you'll want to go ahead and review the documentation as far as connecting your store. And it has screenshots. Squarespace, again, doesn't have right now, we don't have the ability to post tracking. We're hoping to do that soon. Custom notes, gift notes, that's supported with Etsy. If you have a gift note that's included, we will retrieve that from Etsy. We do not have the ability to do that from Shopify or Squarespace because their system, while they allow for that, okay, those gift note messages that get stored in orders are not a standard system-wide feature. They're very specific to the themes that people use. And so, unfortunately, we don't have a way of reliably capturing that. The next is Excel. Now, there's a lot of platforms out there. WooCommerce is one. Weebly, Wix, and we are looking at setting up a WIP. I think that's next on the list is Wix. But many times, for whatever reason, they're just not. They just don't really connect well with us, or building an app would require a lot more. So, as a backup, we have Excel, where if you can generate or an Excel spreadsheet, then you can use, or if you can populate an Excel spreadsheet, you can import that Excel spreadsheet and import orders that way. And we have a template you can download right here. And this is kind of an example of what that template would look like and what an order would look like. And you basically fill out the fields. These are field descriptions. Okay. And this is indicates whether or not it's required or not. And this is just an example. Okay. These are the shipping codes that you'll use to select. Now, you have the ability to override those after you import the order. Now, to import the order, go here and I'm going to start importing Excel orders. I'll select my Excel document and import. And then you'll see it just like you did on that Shopify import interface, same interface. You'll see, your orders and your products, and you'll have the option to submit, the payment. So it's very simple, very quick once you set up that Excel document. There are some apps in WooCommerce that actually let you export your orders into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can determine how you want that Excel spreadsheet to be populated. OrderDesk also allows you to do that. So you can actually generate a Excel spreadsheet from OrderDesk that matches the template that we provide. Um, and then finally, our API. Let's go ahead and go. Now, our API is going to be for more advanced users. A lot of times people come to us and say, well, we have an app that we built for the iPhone or what have you. And, you know, we want to have people be able to order like a framed print. I can't divulge names of these companies, but they've built apps and they submit orders to us that they receive via their apps. And so the API is for their programmers, their developers to be able to do that, basically build their own backend and integration system to transmit orders to us, to retrieve tracking information. The first question is, do you need to know code? Yes, you do. So this is for coders. This is for programmers. If you have a very lucrative store, online store, and you get lots of orders and our existing app import doesn't work with you, or we don't have an import app, you may want to seriously consider either hiring a developer or, you know, getting someone from your team to build an import app, because that will save a lot of time and money in the long run. Full documentation is available. It's going to look like Greek to a lot of people, even me, and I am Greek.
And does coding.
Yeah. But if you're going to be level 3, I will actually, if you're doing those orders, actually, if you're building an app, I don't care if you're level 1 or level 3, you'll be dealing with me directly if you're going to be using our API. And so I'm not going to go into Dropbox. Dropbox, that is mainly an integration to transfer files, or to so we can you can upload files from Dropbox to our servers, and that's done just. I'll just show you real quick. Over here, you can under temp files. I'm sorry, you can add files. You can over here, once you connect your Dropbox account, you can, I guess it's connected already. You can, okay, you can then see your Dropbox files over here, and you can navigate through them, and you can bring your yeah. So
I think we had, and that you have to make sure on your side too. I think we have like typical questions if you are not seeing your images, kind of the macros that we have for customer service. And I think a unique one, the person that did everything, was that their Dropbox was not connected to their local, basically to their computer. It was like onto their network. So I think the images were not coming over.
no, I actually the images should come over. They don't show up here, and it's been a while since we've set this up, so I can't tell you exactly why, but I'm going to transfer this stock image here, and let's see, and there it is right there. So that needs that system probably needs a little work still. It's been a while since we've used it, and we've made so many changes around it, but in general, that's how the integration works.
Now, somebody did ask earlier, I think it was Soren, about the image on Shopify of the inventory item. He asked if they were basically able to use the image URL from
Well, we showed that how you could add
It's-
that
and you can
image
just go-
URL to the product.
Yeah.
So again, and you could now you can use that in Etsy or whatever store that basically these products that you generate in your virtual inventory, those are free for you to use wherever you want. You know, we don't restrict usage of those.
Yeah.
So if you want to use this as a product mock-up, feel free to do so. For some people, that's appropriate. It works fine. Some people want something a little nicer, and so they prefer to
make their own.
Make their
And we
own,
do
yeah.
have some, if you go to our YouTube playlist, we do have some videos on making your own mock-ups for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me see. So, and we do have like, again, this is on our integration and not so much on our whole drop shipping thing. We actually have covered drop shipping and if you should offer free shipping. And those are in previous recordings that we've done. So you can kind of take a look at some of those. But when you want to determine your shipping, at the bottom of our website, we do have our shipping rates there. And you can take a look there for that information.
Yeah, that'll give you a general sense. There's so many ways that the shipping rates can just, like if you're shipping a giant framed print and then you're shipping a folded greeting cards, well, your shipping rate is going to change when you add that giant framed print. So we try to give a broad sense of what shipping is going to be.
Because it's such a fluctuating number.
Yeah, my suggestion, which I tend to encourage more and more, is to try to add about 10 to 20% to your markup to cover shipping. Yeah, because shipping is just so hard to calculate, because we can't always, it's one thing if we're, like I said, shipping those water bottles in the same box, then we could easily calculate weight, package dimensions, and location, provide real-time shipping rates. But because you might have
Is there a size limit on shipping frame prints? Actually, there's size limits on what you can order for the prints, and we will ship to those sizes. So depending on the molding, there are limitations for the sizes.
Yeah, there are limitations of what you'll be able to set up in your inventory. And that is because, it's too unwieldy to ship certain size frame. And of course, and the sticks of molding that we cut them from only come in certain lengths. They may come in 8-foot lengths, or people have contacted us, say, hey, can you make me a frame that's 24 feet by 10 feet? And I say, no, we can't. We really can't.
Oh yeah, Heidi, I'm sorry, I didn't explain this earlier. She said, I mentioned earlier you couldn't drop ship greeting cards. We can. We don't on Geo Galleries.
We don't
support
offer
that because on Geo Galleries, by the time you put your markup on there, let's say for maybe $1.25, because on Geo Galleries with cards, you're not going to get the volume discount one. And by the time you make your markup, you're looking at maybe about $4 or $5 for the card. And then by the time your customer pays shipping, and then if they are in Texas and they pay the tax, they're looking almost at a $10 card, and it doesn't sell well on Geo Galleries. Now we do drop shipping on FinerWorks for greeting cards on people's Etsy's. And in some cases, James, I know some people, are they able to do a card with, like, let's say 25 different designs? How would they do something like that on Etsy and have that for drop shipping?
Well, it's best to use like that batch tool. Cards are not really the ideal product under either scenario. Although we do drop ship a lot of cards at FinerWorks. People do submit them from Etsy. Usually they're flat cards, like 5x7s, 8x10s, that kind of thing. Some of our users see them as, as a cheaper option than regular prints.
Mhm,
And they are, of course, 3 weeks later,
mhm,
well, not 3 weeks, 3 months later,
mhm.
that image is not going to look as good as it once was, because it's on cardstock. It's not a high-end print. And then I don't recommend people try to sell cards on Etsy, because it's just the margins are too low.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, for something with cards, sometimes card specialty prints, sometimes you do the best in almost on those being volume discount and ordering those and you doing the shipping almost on that, because you're going to get a better price, price point for those to do that.
Yeah.
So if you go into where it says printing on the top and you go to all of our different items, you'll see the volume discounts that you can get for certain things on there. We have one question here from Soren. Not really on this thing, but I'll go ahead and answer. From your frame section, can we know what frames are sturdy enough for larger 40 by 6-inch prints? If you have a window that's over 16 by 20, what framing has told me often is look at molding that is 2 inches wide. Is that pretty much?
Well, 40 by 60, you probably
You're
want
gonna
something 3 inches.
Yeah, for 40 by 60s, I would do 3 inches on that.
Yeah, we do some things to reinforce them, but it's very hard to ship those larger sizes safely. You're going to also pay a premium, just because we have to actually, built into the price of the frame, a surcharge, just because how difficult they are to ship, and the rate of damage that occurs with those. The problem is the weight of the glazing or the glass is puts so much stress on the frame, and they're just very difficult to ship. Yeah.
Okay, Soren, thanks for that question. Well, we are a little over, but like I said, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, thanks, James, because our integrations are something that everybody has a lot of questions on. And I think we hit all 13 questions that customer service said that they traditionally get.
Yeah.
And again, if you're brand new to FinerWorks and if you go to printing at the top there on the bottom right-hand side, you'll see the sample kit. And that will offer you all of our media and our canvas media and cards. You can add metal prints for $10. And that sample kit also comes with a $20 gift card. So while it's $20 to order the sample kit, we do provide you the gift card to put towards your next order. And that's going to help you a lot. It'll also come with a calibration print to go ahead. So there's that whole setup process, no matter what printer you go with, that you go ahead and get the samples that you're going to possibly want to print on, and getting your monitor calibrated to your printer, and doing a test print, and then going forward from here on out with your shops and your integration. But like I said, if you also go to our YouTube playlist, we have other videos on drop shipping, so that you can kind of help you a little more with your online store process there. Now, next month, we haven't kind of confirmed our topic yet with our presenters. So I'm trying to get those done and confirmed, and I'll go ahead and announce that on social once we get confirmation.
And we'll announce it in the newsletter. Hopefully we have that. We'll know within the next week or so. If it is what we hope for, I think
it's going to be a great topic.
Yeah.
It'll revolutionize the way you get your images for printing.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Or
so
capturing your original artwork.
Yeah. So we hope to have that for next month, and we'll confirm that in the newsletter and our social over the next week. But we thank you all, especially all of you who stuck around all through the way through the Zoom, and those of you who stuck around with us almost all the way through on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And we will see you soon. Join us Thursday for Photo Tips Monthly with Jim Landers. He's going to be going over pricing your mini sessions. So photographers that are getting ready for spring to do these little mini sessions, he's going to help you develop that price list. So we'll see you here Thursday at 4 o'clock Central. Just log into your FinerWorks account and you can get on the Zoom or follow us on our YouTube and subscribe, and you can join us there and use the live chat feature. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great
Good
night.
night.